Howdy, Possum Patty here, and this is another episode of hashtag Prompt Journal, so come on along. In the last episode, you may remember I opened up my package where I received my cover from Jeannie at Happily Ella After, and my mission is to now make a journal using the cover that she made for me, and she made a journal with the cover that I sent to her. So if you think I'm making too many journals lately, you are probably most correct, but whatever. Do what makes you happy when it makes you happy. So we were sent these cardboard journal bases. Mine is a 2-inch spine because I like them chunky. And I just reinforced the spine with a piece of mailing envelope made out of Tyvek. And I didn't plan to do this today. I was actually cleaning up the room and I came across some of these scraps that I have left of this cotton batting. And I didn't think I had enough left to do this journal, but I think if I piece them together, I got another one over here, that there may just be enough to somehow cover this whole cardboard with this cotton batting. And then I was also cleaning up the material tub, and I'm looking at the material and I'm thinking, oh, you know what? I think this one would be perfect for this with the pinks and the blues and the purples. And then you get a little bit of this bronze in here to match the clouds. But I also have this purple one, which is also interesting. And I got a little bit of this one, which matches these moons and stars. So I may put one of these on the outside and use one for the inside cover pages. All right, so what I'm going to do off camera is go through these scraps of cotton batting and see if I can piece together enough to cover this journal inside and out. This is a very thin cardboard, so it's going to make an excellent soft cover journal, especially if you add some batting on both sides and then cover material, and then you can even sew around it on your machine with some designs, and then this will go on top of that. All right, so again, I'll be right back after I cut up this batting. Okay, I managed to piece enough on here for both sides. I usually do like one big piece, but because I didn't have any big pieces, but luckily I did have enough little pieces to do the whole journal, and I have a little bit left over, which may come in handy for something, so I will save that in the bucket. And I'm going to go with the gold moon and stars for the outside of the cover. And this piece is just big enough to do this. So I lucked out there too. I think what I'm going to do is put a little bit of glue, all right, which is the outside. Okay, fold this way. So this is the outside. Put a little bit of this glue stick on. I am going to stitch it after. But that's what I put down the batting with. I put it down with just a little bit of glue stick because I am going to run this through the machine. And yes, the glue needs to go on the spine. And a little bit over here. just to hold it down. And it'll be dry by the time I take it over to the machine to sew it. Can't put wet glue through your sewing machine, because you're gonna gunk up your needle. You don't want to gunk up the workings. That look about right. Okay, it looks about right. This is 100% cotton. I know that because it says right there, 100% cotton. I got this at a yard sale. Okay, now I'm going to glue it to the inside. I got to think about how I'm going to do the corners. Okay. Now I could just fold this as neatly as I could, or if I don't want so much bulk, I could cut it a little bit. So let's try cutting this a little bit. Trying to keep you in frame here. Just cut out a square. And then you can fold that under a little bit and do a corner like that, which I think is what I'm going to do here. So I cut it just to the inside and then up to that spot. Like that. Save those. Put those in the scrap bucket. Glue stick. Uh-oh, get to the end of this glue stick. Do I have another one? Yes, I do. Okay. Uh-oh. Told you I was getting to the end of this one. Okay. Okay, I'm going to fold that in just a little bit and make that corner like that. I'm usually not very fussy about my corners. It'll be just fine. I folded that one in more. Should I fold this one in more? I just don't want a raw edge poking out at the corner. The sun's coming around the side of the house. Okay, and wow, I got way more on that side than this side. Didn't mean to do that. Did not mean to do that. Did not mean to do that. I meant to do them a little more evenly. But I wasn't paying attention. Okay, well, trash can. Seems to me I went through that glue stick pretty quickly. This permanent bond, extra strength, is not cheap. Not cheap. Okay, I cut out my little squares, put a little glue, fold that in. Okay, I'm not going to run that through the machine until it dries for a few minutes, so what I'm going to do is cut the piece for the inside. Just checking it out here. Looks good, looks good. Okay, I'm going to use the batik for the inside panel, and I'm just going to go ahead and cut a piece to fit right across the entire thing. But then I am going to, I think, sew some pockets in, and I have another purple, but it's like swirly galaxies. And I think I'll make a pocket on the front and the back too with this. Well, I took the material that I cut for the inside of the journal over to the sewing machine to sew on these little pockets before I put it down on the inside of the cover. And I was thinking maybe I want to sew this by hand, put a couple of gold stitches, because on the cover, if you see here, she's got gold thread with these little tiny gold beads. So I thought, well, that's very cool and interactive. And she also has some sequins with some little beads on them too. So I was like, I have gold thread. And I looked around and could not find any tiny, tiny gold beads, seed beads. I do have some blue and green. The blue were a little too small. The green fit fine on the needle. And I do have crystal, which I think will work. So I thought about just hand stitching around the pocket and adding on some gold sequins, because she has sequins on the outside, and some beads, or putting a sequin with a bead. I could use green. There's a little touch of green on this material, and that might look nice on the gold, or I can use the crystal, or I can mix them up. And I have stars. I could not find any gold moons, but I have gold butterflies and flowers and lots of stars. So I have to decide what I'm going to use. Or, see, I keep getting new ideas. Should I stitch on some sequins and then just sew it on? Just put a couple of random sequins on there. I can see how that'll look. So if I just say pick a spot, and I don't know, it's probably been like forever since I've sewn sequins. I don't even remember ever sewing sequins actually. I'm going to just tie this knot. This is very funky gold thread. It's kind of like a twisted thread, so it constantly comes untwisted. So if I put a star and where'd the crystal bead go? Maybe a small crystal. I think these are different sizes. This looks like a small one. And just sew that on there like that. Maybe. That's kind of cool. Well, I like that. All right, what if I just put 3 stars on each one and then sew around the outside by hand, just put some big gold stitches. Should I tie this off? I guess I could. Ah, here comes trouble. Here comes trouble looking for my attention. Oh, and the other cat's at the door, banging at the door. Okay, so this is the pocket. So I'll put 3 stars because 3 is the lucky number. And you know what? I'm going to cut this. Because if I have too much thread here, it's going to interfere when you put things in and out of the pocket. Oh, there she goes on my shoulder. Okay, so I'm going to sew 2 more on just like that. Okay, I've got my star sequins and the little crystal beads sewn on. I did 3 on each pocket because 3 is the magical number. And I pinned them down, and I'm going to slow stitch these by hand using this German-made polyester gold thread made in West Germany. I think I got this at a yard sale or flea market or something. And let's see, it doesn't matter about that side because it's going to get glued down. So I'm just going to do a stitch around the edge, just a running stitch as best I can. And I was watching Linda D sewing the other day, and I was also watching Susan Heil sewing. And you know, I'm a big monkey see, monkey do. I see somebody do something, I want to do it too. Or maybe people just give me inspiration. Oop, getting caught up on everything here. Now, slow stitch is just a free form stitch any way you want to do it. You can use embroidery stitches, but basically I think slow stitching is to embroidery as junk journaling is to scrapbooking. I like this metallic thread. Okay, this is going to be me slowly stitching all the way around the pocket. Double check the other side, looks good. And I can do the rest off camera because you get the idea. Make sure I don't get any knots in there. This thread does easily knot because it's kind of a twisted thread. Oops, keep getting hung up on the pins. And that's what I'm doing. How yummy are these gold metallic threads on this dark purple background. So wonky and so fun. Okay, that is the inside, and what I did was I took 2 pieces of this material that Jeannie had included in her gift to me that came along with the journal cover, and I know why she sent it because it matches beautifully. And I glued the 2 pieces down. Well, it was 1 piece, I cut it in half, and I glued it down like that because that is going to be the tie. And now I am going to glue this down and then stitch around, or stitch around then glue this down. You know what, I think I'm going to stitch around and then glue that down. So I'm going to take the cover over to the sewing machine and just glue around the sew around the edge, and be right back. I did a pink zigzag stitch just all around the edge. Of course, you're not going to see it in the front, but that's okay. I just continued it all the way around. It will look good on the back though. Okay, that part is done. Now 2 things left to do. I'm going to glue this down like that to cover the inside, and then glue the cover on. And then in the next episode I will be making the signatures. So I think I will use the bond. This works pretty good on fabric. And then maybe just fabric tack the corners. But just use this all on the inside. Now, so far, all of the material that I've ever glued down with this stick has stayed put. So, I have not done a long-term study yet, though. Okay, let's see if I can get this on here. Looking good, looking good. Okay, I am just going to reinforce the corners with a little Fabri-Tac and then come back and glue on the cover. I am going to use the Beacon foam and poster board adhesive from the Dollar Tree to glue down the cover. As this is just cardboard and it's going down on top of fabric, but we do want the cover to stay down. But this has been a really fun collab. It started with a business card as an inspiration. It was like ATC, but business card size. And then we made journal covers and we sent them to our partners. And then we received our journal cover and making our journals from the covers we received. And I think I have only one more episode to go. I'll make the signatures. Well, one more episode of making the journal. And there will be, I'm sure, lots of episodes of actually journaling in the episode. Journaling in the journal. Episodes of journaling in the journal. Okay, now I'm going to press this down so that it sticks. Okay, that is not quite dry yet, but you can see how fun it's going to look. The material she sent me matches this perfectly. That is the tie. I used the purple moon and stars because of the moon. See the gold moon and stars on the cover that she made, Dreamer of Dreams. I did zigzag stitch around. The inside has more pink and purple fabric. I have batting to make it nice and soft, and some dark purple galaxy pockets with gold sequins with little beads and gold wonky stitching around to match her gold thread and beads that are on the cover, and sequins too with the little beads. So I love how it came out, and I'm just going to let this dry. And thank you for coming along today, and happy junk journaling to everyone. Bye bye now.